My dad left my mom when I was 12. I love both of them, but when he remarried within a year of the divorce, I knew more than I needed to know. I live close to both my folks, and they both have keys to my house in case of emergency. My half-brother, 18, still lives with my father and his mother. He seems like a good enough kid, but he's my dad's son, not my brother. I just went on vacation to Brazil for a couple of weeks. When I got back, my car stunk. I almost threw up from the reek. I found a piece of chicken breast rotting in my car. I don't buy raw chicken breast to eat. I hate the way it feels. I buy it prepared and fully cooked. I asked my mom about it and she had no clue. I asked my father and he told me that he borrowed my car, which he is allowed to do, and used it to get groceries. I told him that he had to pay someone to clean my car. I got a hold of a detailing company, but they said the smell was in my upholstery and I would probably need to replace it. I told my dad and he said that he couldn't afford that. I called my insurance company and asked if I was covered. They said that if my car had been used without my permission, I could report it as stolen, and they would cover it. I told my dad and he lost it. He admitted that his son had taken my keys and used my car, and that if I reported it stolen, he would get into trouble and it would affect his college admission. I gave my father 4 choices. Pay to replace the upholstery in my car and guarantee the smell was gone, buy the car from me at full market value so I could replace it, give me his car to use until the smell went away, or I would report the car as having been stolen. Since the only extra money he has is his son's college fund, he's in a bind. I told him I was taking his car until he decided. I grabbed both sets of keys and left. I also took my emergency key back and changed the locks at my house. His wife has been hounding me because they must drive around in a stinking car. I told her that I could report it stolen and have her thief's son deal with the consequences. She's had to start taking Ubers everywhere because she can't handle the stench. My dad is close to cracking and using his kids' money to pay for my car. I feel like an idiot and that family thinks I am, but my car was only a year old and I loved it. Not the idiot. Your father and his son created this situation, and they lied about it to try and save their own skins. Why should you suffer for their stupidity? What was the story of the raw chicken breast? Why was it left in the car? Was it some kind of malicious prank or a bizarre accident? Regardless, it's their problem to fix, and stealing a car, which is what the son did, has consequences. Great questions. I was wondering the same thing. How does one just lose one raw chicken breast in their car after a grocery trip? It's like seeing one shoe along the roadside. Things got wild. You're being very generous, giving them a chance to repair or buy your car. Give Dad a week to decide, and if he doesn't fix or purchase your car, file a police report. I'd have done it already if it was my car. Man, oh man, you are the idiot. Are you telling me that you want to call the cops on your own brother instead of just getting the car cleaned, paid for by your father, and waiting it out until the smell goes away? You're such an idiot. You're also committing a crime yourself by blackmailing your own father into buying your car, or giving you his, or spending your brother's college fund. Or you'll tell the cops on his son, and by how you described it, you seem to have stolen your father's car too. The bottom line is, only a weak idiot calls the cops on a family member when it could be taken care of by talking about it. On the surface, it appears that OP might be overreacting, but he has got 18 years plus of hostility that has built up, and this was the catalyst for him to blow up. Dude, you're fully within your rights to expect your car to be restored to its previous condition. Do what you have to do. Tell the family to get your car cleaned and you'll quit being angry. Hugs and good luck. I, 27 male, have 3 of my nephews over for the weekend. They're cool kids and I love having them over. However, one of them, Eric, a teen male, has a gigantic appetite. Like, literally every time I see this kid, he's wolfing down food. You wouldn't think it because he's super lank, but I guess he's at that age where it's normal. I've been there. At dinner last night, we had a nice meatloaf and some mac and cheese. I gave everyone big servings and the other 2 kids were happy with it, but naturally, Eric wanted more. I told him he should probably save room for dessert, and he did, but he still wanted to eat another serving of dinner after dessert. I wanted to save some food for our dinner tomorrow, so I told him he couldn't have any more. But my wife, 26, went over my head and told Eric he could have more if he wanted, and he went on to eat so much that he almost instantly fell asleep on the couch, where my other nephews were playing video games. It was overall a really good day, but I was miffed that my wife went over my head over the food thing, and when we went to bed, I told her I felt like what we served was reasonable. She argued that since Eric is a guest, he can have as much food as he wants, and she can always buy more. She usually stocks the kitchen. She thinks I'm being a jerk for thinking I can control how much we do or don't serve and that it's weird. I would have told Eric he could only have another serving if he at least checked with her first. I haven't been able to stop thinking about it since. Was I being the idiot? I think I was in the right. Why not save some dinner? Eric already had a lot of food as it was. You are the idiot. He's a young growing teen who's hungry. Let him eat. It'd be one thing if he just wanted sweets. He wanted more meatloaf. He was clearly still hungry. Even if he was chubby, you give him more food. You knew him well enough to know how much he could eat. Why didn't you plan for this? Do you remember how much you ate at his age? Every teen boy I know is a seemingly bottomless pit regarding food. It's normal. You don't mention it, but does he play sport or have an active gym class at school? Not only is he growing, but he probably moves around a lot more than you do, even just playing around with friends. You even said that he's lanky. Could he have an extremely fast metabolism? It sounds like there are no health concerns, but you decided that your nephew should eat what you arbitrarily decided is the right amount for him. I'm going against the grain here and saying that you're not the idiot. Yes, he's a growing boy, but he also needs to learn how to take no for an answer, especially in someone else's home. He won't starve to death because he didn't get a third helping of food. Good Lord, there are so many people right now who don't even have one helping. The leftovers were going to be used for the next day, so now OP has to replan that. In our house, this would be a big deal. Food is damn expensive these days. I agree, what is it with people acting like OP was starving the child? He's just greedy, and the fact that he's a teenager does not free him from having manners. It also sounds like he has a lack of control over food and doesn't know about moderation. Being skinny doesn't mean that it's healthy for him to eat without control, and eating yourself into a coma is dangerous. I had a cookout at my place. My daughter's young teen Switch goes missing. I contacted family members, and my wife's sister Cara and my daughter gave it as a gift to her son Stevie, young grammar school age, for his upcoming birthday. I asked my daughter and she said it wasn't true. She let Stevie use it to play Mario Kart together, and it went missing after the cookout. My daughter is upset and I call Cara back, who insists that the Switch is now Stevie's, and my daughter is too old to play anyways or will outgrow it soon, and it was a gift to Stevie. After this, I contacted my uncle, who's a police officer, and he watched Cara's house and a few of his friends go over and threaten to arrest Steve and Cara over stolen property. Cara reluctantly gives it back after an incident with the officer where she could have been arrested. They warn Stevie next time he steals, both he and his mom would go to jail. They let my sister-in-law go without incident. Sister-in-law says Stevie has been crying non-stop and having issues sleeping because he doesn't want to go to jail, and blames me and my family for traumatizing her son. My response might have been heartless because it was, I guess he'll never steal again. Cara thinks he'll be traumatized for life for making a big deal over a stupid game. Am I the idiot for frightening my nephew and making him traumatized for life? Everyone's the idiot here. Screw your sister-in-law, but a grown man threatened a little boy with jail? Are you kidding me? Obviously, the Switch was stolen and your sister wasn't going to do anything about it, so you needed to figure out an alternative. However, your uncle went way overboard by sending someone out there to threaten arrest. Why didn't he go over there and explain to Cara that stealing is illegal and he needs the Switch back? Why were third-party cops sent to the scene? Why didn't you go over there and ask for it back? Why was your uncle involved at all? You're an adult man. Stand up for your daughter and teach her how to appropriately respond in situations like this. Instead, you called in an inappropriate favor and probably did make Stevie, who's a very young child, scared. Not the idiot. Stevie has bigger problems like having a mother who likes to steal. Your sister-in-law got caught stealing and is trying to deflect by telling you her son is traumatized. She thought you would just back down and let her steal from your daughter. Completely agreed. His mom is something else. I think people are glossing over that. Apparently there was an incident that Cara instigated with the officer that she could have gotten arrested for. Listen, sending the cops after a young child is nuts, but that's literally all Cara's fault. She refused to return it and instead insulted OP's kid. If OP had tried to retrieve it himself, he could have been arrested for trespassing or assault if he tried to go inside the house to get it. Cara reacted so belligerently to the officers that it could have ended in jail for her other than the theft, and she was still very reluctant, and only the threat of imminent arrest made her cough it up. Yeah, what else was OP supposed to do at that point? Once someone says, yeah, I have your crap, no, I won't return it, pound sand loser, it actually is police time. Sorry, yes, it was the nuclear option and completely over the top, and that's all on Kara for taking it there. She really only has herself to blame. Maybe this scare will keep little Stevie from ending up in prison when he gets older. His mom obviously has yet to teach him that stealing is bad. This intervention may save him. I, 25 female, met my fiancée, 26 female, in high school. We got along very well and we started dating a few months later. We've been together for 9 years and I proposed to her for her birthday. I was thrilled when she said yes and we started planning our wedding. We've always wanted a winter wedding and our date is in January. Invitations were sent out last week and yesterday I received an angry call from my brother, 33, asking why he hadn't received an invite. Now, my brother has never been very accepting of me being a lesbian. When I first came out, he was very certain that I was simply confused and just hadn't found the right man yet. Over the years I've been with my fiancée, he's been constantly criticizing her and our relationship, talking about how it was doomed to fail because one day we'd realize what we were missing. I went low contact with him years ago, and I only ever see him at family events, but even after my proposal, the comments about our relationship didn't stop. When we announced our engagement, he literally asked if we were sure about it because divorces are so stressful. If anyone knows about divorces, it must be him and his soon-to-be 3 ex-wives. When he contacted me, I asked why he'd expected an invitation after having absolutely no faith in our relationship for almost a decade. But he got defensive and talked about how not inviting close family to my wedding was beyond rude and that I was an idiot for excluding him, my own brother, when even my cousins are invited. After all, I've been invited to all of his weddings. I only attended the first one because I liked his now ex-wife. My fiancée fully supports my decision because she can't stand him, but my father called and tried to reason with me, promising he'd make sure my brother behaved if I were to invite him. But I genuinely don't want him anywhere near me on our big day. Not the idiot. You don't want people to behave at your wedding. You want people who are sincerely and genuinely happy for you and your fiancée. Your brother isn't among them. Spoiler, he won't behave. He probably objects at your wedding or talks behind you and your fiancée's back. Not inviting him is the best option. Your brother is not close family in any sense other than biology, and biology alone does not automatically score an invite. I suspect he's worried that not being present will reflect poorly on him, but that's called reaping what he sowed. He's a misogynistic moron demanding to be invited to a lesbian wedding. No, biology does not supersede a history of bigotry and toxic behavior in a relationship that barely exists anymore. I would guess he wants free booze and a party with the cousins. I'd have security ready to remove him if he shows up without an invite. Sorry, Dad. You didn't stop the brother from mistreating his sister. Tell that to people that wonder why he isn't there. This would frankly be grounds for Dad losing his own invitation too. Apparently, more important to support misogyny and bigotry to be sure his son gets to attend versus supporting his daughter during her actual wedding. Dad is a giant enabling idiot. My husband is legitimately the baby of the family. He's 28, the youngest. He has 2 sisters and a brother, all older, and none of them have kids. There's no extended family, most have passed. I, 29 female, came into the relationship with 3 kids. I'm currently pregnant with my husband's first baby and the family's first baby in 28 years. Now, one of my sister-in-laws and my brother-in-law are the worst when it comes to calling my husband and asking for handouts. In the past 6 years that I've been around, my husband has been called at least once a week to help someone out, whether it be helping people move, helping out financially, babysitting dogs, giving people rides, etc., etc., etc. Over the past 6 years, we have extended our handouts as much as $21,000 and much more in labor and delivery, and whenever they say they'll pay us back, they never do. The only one I can understand is my brother-in-law, who's currently in prison. We give him commissary money or gifts sent, but that's whatever. However, about 6 months ago, I told my husband either we stop helping his family or I'm done. We have a baby on the way, and I'm utterly repulsed by his family mooching off of us. He agreed and he started saying no every time they asked for anything, and eventually the calls stopped coming in. Well, last weekend, my sister-in-law called and asked us to come over with the kids because it was my youngest son's birthday and they had gifts for him. We show up and they give my son a pair of goggles, the $1 ones from Dollar General, and a cupcake. Both sisters-in-law and their husbands and mother-in-law were there. They didn't even say happy birthday to my kid. Well, when the kids went outdoors, they cornered us and started talking about how the family needed to band together to help sister-in-law save her house because she couldn't pay her land tax, $1,500, and said, "How much can you contribute?" I immediately got angry and my husband grabbed my arm and said, "Don't." But they kept pressing about how everyone needed to help and how they, all of them, were all broke. So I honestly snapped and said, "You guys are nothing but a bunch of damn mooches," and walked out, getting my kids and getting them in the car. My husband is angry that I said anything because he told me don't, and I disrespected him. Edit, I make more than my husband does by almost $15,000. And no, he wasn't holding up his end of the deal either. He was asking them how much they needed. Therefore, he fully intended to help them, which would have come from our shared savings. He's made it clear to me several times that he doesn't want to help them. He'll complain to me for weeks after being forced or cornered into helping, so I become the emotional bag he uses to decompress. So no, he doesn't want to help. He just has an issue with saying no because he's a people pleaser. He'd rather take it out on me later because that's easier for him. Not the idiot. You contribute more money to your household than your husband, and you have every right to speak up when he's breaking his promise to you. You decided as a couple that you were done handing out money to his family. You kept silent until he started asking how much they needed. Since he would be using shared funds to give away, he had no right to demand that you not say a word. He values keeping the peace with his greedy family over respecting you and the family you're building together. That's not okay. Him lending them money from your joint savings is a far more egregious offence than you calling them mooches, which they clearly are. This has gone beyond you disrespecting him. That's a BS statement from him. His giving in to them is affecting your marriage and your financial situation. He is setting himself and you on fire to keep his family warm. He's being generous with your money. Husband is the idiot to you and your future baby. It's time to separate finances as much as possible. He will never prioritize your family's needs over his mom and siblings.